Josh Lederman, you and our team at the White House and our aviation team scooping some, I think, pretty critical news. This decision that a lot of people have been looking at, the federal mask mandate on, for example, airplanes, on federal transportation, set to be extended, according to sources that you're talking to. Tell us more.
That's right, Hallie. That mandate was set to expire on Monday. But now 2 administration officials and 2 airline officials tell NBC News that the CDC is about to extend that mandate for 2 weeks. So there had been some discussion about maybe even a longer timeline. There had been discussion about whether to create a more flexible masking policy. But for the time being, these officials and sources tell myself, as well as Carol Lee and Jay Blackman, that the CDC, working alongside the TSA and other agencies, will extend for 2 weeks that mandate that you have to wear a mask, for example, when you're on an airplane. And the reason for that is that we've seen this slight uptick in cases across the country to about 30,000 new cases a day. And officials want to make sure that they have a little bit of added time to really gauge what's happening in the country with COVID, whether it might be necessary to keep masks in place for a longer period of time. They want to get a handle on this before they go ahead with lifting the mask mandate. But this comes as the government is getting increased pressure from industry to lift this mandate, with Airlines for America, which is a lobby group that represents the big 3 airlines here in the U.S., calling today for not only the mask mandate to be lifted, but also that pre-testing requirement. If you're overseas and you want to fly to the U.S., you're supposed to get a negative COVID test within 24 hours. The industry wants that to be lifted. And Delta's CEO was also on television earlier today saying it is time for those masks to come off. That's right, Hallie.
You're reading my mind, because I was thinking, boy, you know, this, first of all, Josh, it's great reporting that you're scooping here on MSNBC, because this is a decision that a lot of people had been looking to, not just travelers who are getting on planes, but industry officials themselves. And let me just specifically quote what we heard from the Delta CEO today over with our friends on CNBC, saying, "I feel very strongly that the mask mandate should be lifted, and that individuals, including our own employees, make their own decisions and take personal accountability for their health on board our planes." They had been lobbying to have April 18th be the last day, right, for the federal mask mandate. That is not what they're going to get. When you're talking with folks in the administration and your sources about this, how are they working to thread that needle?
Well, they're saying, look, this is temporary. We're not putting this mask mandate in place indefinitely. We're not extending it for a month or 2 months. We're saying give us 2 more weeks to get a better handle on what is happening with this slight increase in cases we're seeing. And then, ostensibly, the administration would look to lift it at the end of those 2 weeks if the data justifies that. So they are basically saying, everybody take a deep breath. The goal still is to be able to get back to a more normal method of transportation, and of course all of the commerce that goes along with that, as the airlines are seeing demand really at the highest levels since before the pandemic. But for now, they're saying they want a couple more weeks to make sure they are doing this in exactly the safest way possible, Hallie.